We don't want this webinar to be theoretical. We don't want this webinar only to discuss and touch the surface. We want this webinar to be action-oriented, insights-oriented, and at least every one of us should get one or two ideas to implement. That would be our objective here. So I hope this format is workable for all. Next 60 to 75 minutes, we will discuss these areas one by one, and then we want to spare 10 to 15 minutes in order to have question answers, live question answers with all our participants. So shall we begin? Yeah, everyone is on mute, so I consider this as permission to go ahead. Thank you so much.
Yes, please.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. So I will start sharing my screen here so that we have a reference point. Hope everyone is able to see. As the name suggests, work from home, the present day reality, and how it impacts. So let me first start with giving a very brief introduction about who we are, so that then we can directly jump into the topic. Very briefly about Shunyas. So Shunyas does coaching, consulting, and education. That's the core business of Shunyas. What topics we deal with? Growth strategies for businesses, leadership issues, leadership strategies, and business management strategies. These three core focus areas on which Shunyas work on, and we work with business leaders and managers. That's our core, that's our objectives. Let me very quickly see what Spacers does. So to briefly introduce Spacers, I will invite Virenji to please let us know what Spacers does.
Thanks, Tim. So Spacers was a cut with this idea last year. Spacers was basically into creating managed offices for SMEs and MNCs. So what we basically used to do was we used to provide complete managed office services, office as a service to our clients. And currently, with this COVID situation, we have come up with another model. Our clients cope up with the work from home situation. So we are basically providing them with some infrastructure, office infrastructure, which the employees can use at the home.
Sure. So work from home solutions. That's what Virenji you want to mention?
Correct.
Okay. Thanks for sharing. Okay. And these are two possible solutions. Virenji?
Correct. There are some of the, we have just listed some basic stuff, which is in currently greater demand by companies.
Okay. So just for the sake of all our participants, I may mention that Spacers has come up with such a fantastic solution. I myself is using this at my own home, which is a very basic but very effective office infrastructure at home. So thanks for sharing this, Virenji, with us.
Thanks.
Okay. Now let us get into the topic. This is extraordinary time. We definitely call it as war time. An extraordinary time needs extraordinary focus. Extraordinary time needs extraordinary efforts. Possibly in our lifetimes, we have not experienced this time of global scale pandemic. We will not really go into the details of really what is the impact in terms of health as well as businesses. But the fact of the matter is, this is exceptional time that we are passing through, and therefore exceptional efforts is required here. And with that tone, let us see which are those key vulnerable areas in this pandemic. And that itself is our topic for today's webinar. This pandemic is going to impact money, which means our financial health, business health, organizational health. This is going to impact our mindset, stress, and this is going to impact our productivities. So these three vulnerable areas are going to be our focus today. And we are going to go through it one by one. Let me first discuss money. Because first and foremost topic, what comes to money. When has this health pandemic converted into economic pandemic, we also not realized. And more than health, now we are concerned for our economy. More than health, we are concerned for our finances now. All of a sudden, everyone is now concerned about their economic situations, economic future, financial health, and therefore, we need to discuss this topic first in the sequence. Key indicators. I need not really explain it, but I just wanted to increase our level of awareness. Government has allowed working in offices, working in factories, only with 50% capacities at most, and that too in stages. First and foremost impact area. Demand is at standstill. Most of the businesses, they are not really having similar level of demands as they used to deal with in the past. Supply side is also disturbed. The major supply chain disruption is happening at this particular moment. And I'm sure you are also experiencing this in your own business situations. Third, breakdown of credit lines, the most important. As our businesses have been impacted, our financials have been impacted, our balance sheets have been impacted, our P&L are going to get impacted. Whether we will have same level of credit lines as before, a question mark. Whether banks will support us, whether financial institutions will support us, question mark. And now the most important, at an individual level, we are seeing every single day announcements of major layoffs by companies. Every single day, not a single day is exception. And if not layoffs, then pay cuts. Pay cuts to the extent of, yesterday I was speaking to one gentleman. He mentioned, my company paid me 10% of my salary for last 2 months. And no visibility for future. 10%. Number two, major companies like Reliance Industries, I don't want to name companies, but companies are giving pay cuts to the extent of 25% to 55% on an average. That's the impact on pay cuts. So job security is at stake. There's a major impact on money and financial health. So the question comes in front of us is what we need to do here. What can we do as business leaders? What can we do as individuals, as professionals? And therefore we wanted to share some of the ideas today. The idea is not to really go into the minutest details of every point. However, the idea is to at least share some ideas which may be applicable to you. And if you can take away at least one or two ideas, we will feel that this webinar is successful in its purpose. Right? So for businesses, now we will look at as an organization. we are running an organization, we are managers, we are leaders, we are owners, we are entrepreneurs. What should be our focus areas? One, cash flow. First and foremost, liquidity and cash are the determinants of who survive and who don't. Now, cash flow versus profitability. If you want to choose one, what we will be choose? Of course, cash flow. Liquidity is the first most parameter as of today. When banks are not able to fund us, supply money to us, what can we do? When customers are not paying on time, what can we do? The answer is possibly, let's collaborate. Let's find out business partners. Let's collaborate for future wherein synergies can be used financially as well as operationally. That's the way forward. Second, bootstrap. If banks are not providing money, we need to find our own resources. We need to really approach individuals, investors to fund us. That was the first and foremost strategy for financing in the past also. We need to go back to that strategy. Whatever we need to do, we will have to do for survival. Either we collaborate or we go back to investors, we go back to individual investors that please fund us, we will have this model for remuneration to you. In terms of interest, in terms of profit share, the model can be very creative. But the point is, we need to be creative and innovative while finding financiers for our business. Cash flow comes first before profitability. That's the mantra for today. Second, revenue models. There is a very fantastic saying, a rupee today is more valuable than rupees tomorrow. I need to go back to my customers saying that, I'm willing to give you XYZ% discount if you pay me within 15 days. Because I need immediate cash in my own hand. So we can't go back with old models of revenues. We will have to come up with revised models, updated models, so that we are secure in terms of our cash flow. Third and foremost, this is very crucial. Lots of things can happen here. Value-based pricing to customers. Till now, we used to have a very simple model. Very simple model. Okay, this is our outcome. This is my delivery. This is the pricing I expect. Possibly this cannot go any longer. I will have to justify my value to my customers. Customers will be willing to pay me only if I provide some value to them and I connect my pricing to the value I give. It cannot be standard pricing anymore. So can it be linked with outcome? Can it be linked with cost savings? Can it be linked with increased business? Can it be linked with some objective parameter for the customer? So that they also will not see us as a burden. They will also see as partners in their business. So value-based pricing is going to be the key factor for businesses in future. Supply side, globally supply chain has been disrupted, and including in India. We can't predict what will happen in next 2 to 3 months. Which suppliers will be in the business and which will have to close down their shops. I need to really be very much closely monitoring my vendors, my suppliers. Their financial health will help me to maintain my financial health. Their operational existence will help me to manage my own operational existence. So supply side stability, this is first time in the history of world, especially in last 50 years, when supply chain has been disrupted to this extent globally. Now the most crucial one. Who are the real funders to my business? The customers. This is the time to go closer to them. This is the time to understand their pain points. This is the time to understand their new needs. This is the time to have frequent communication, dialogues, understanding with them. This is the time to being more empathetic with our customers. What are their new requirements? What are their new pain points? What are their new challenges? Such a crucial question, because that is only going to help us while coming up with new services, new solutions, new offerings. And if we do it right, possibly this crisis can be converted into opportunity. Because in normal times, we can't find something unique. In abnormal times, we definitely find something new. Because need is the mother of invention. So possibly this is the time to find out something new for our business in terms of offering solutions, services, products. And the most important now, do we know what is our unique selling proposition, unique selling point, USP? What is my unique value proposition? Customers are going to be choosy now because they have so many choices at the same time. There is no immediate necessity because customers are also following essentialism model. So unless I communicate my USP well, it is very difficult for customers to choose me as their service provider or supplier or vendor. So do I know my USP? First of all, a big question. If I know my USP, am I able to communicate my USP? Second question. I need to answer this question for my customers. Why should I buy from you? A big question in customers' mind today. We need to answer this. Let's see the next one. Now let's pose some positivity here. While we are saying that businesses are getting disrupted, there is also a light of hope. Possibly this is the time to also think about expansion. How? Number one, the most important one. Work from home. A person sitting across your office or a person sitting in the next building or the person sitting in the next society, in the next area of your own city or in the next city itself or in the next state or in the next country doesn't make any difference. Isn't it? So this is possibly the opportune time to really think broad. Now if I can work with my people situated all across Maharashtra, all across India, why can't I work with people situated in, say, Singapore, say in South Africa, say in Dubai, say in Malaysia, or in Europe, or in the US? Now technology has really created a level playing field for everyone. So can't I really now look at wider talent pool all across the globe? Possibly this is the opportunity really to tap that distributed talent all across the world. So can I look at my business with this new lens? Critical question. Second, possibly can I collaborate now for new markets? Because anyway, if it is the time to work from home, if it is the time to work remotely, can I not collaborate with other service providers, other companies situated in different geographies and create a new win-win model where I open my geographical reach to them and they open their geographical reach to me? Is it not possible? Can I look at my own business with some new lens? Which are the areas where I can collaborate? Number one question. Because collaboration will help me grow. Next question, very critical. As we discussed, if I know the market well, if I know my market's needs well, if I understand my customers' requirements well, what are those new services, new solutions, new offerings I can offer? Using my own strengths, using my own past experiences in business, using our own USP for business, what new I can offer? Simple question. These are a few important points to really deliberate on more and more. The next one for businesses, for organizations. Digital way of doing businesses. I need not really explain this because every one of us now would have realized the future demands digital way. I can't really continue my business in the old brick and mortar fashion. I will have to come up with areas where I can involve technology, where I can involve digitalization, either for sourcing or for operations, for getting things done from people, or for rendering services, or marketing. Which are those business areas in my own organization which I can digitalize? Can I use technology to go closer to my customers? Can I use technology to analyze my customers, their behaviors well? Can I use technology to communicate with my people on a day-to-day basis well? Can I use technology to create reports, business reports on a time-to-time basis? Can I use technology to deliver my services, to offer my products? In fact, can I use technology also to find out suppliers all across the globe? Can we not use the power of technology in our own present businesses? And I'm sure if we look at different areas in our own business, we find out lots of opportunities to use technology, to digitalize. Let's see the last one for organizations to really be in good health. When I say good health, I literally mean good health of existence, which means steps towards employees. If work from home, in fact, the most impactful area is people, my own employees. What I need to do as a leader, as an organization? Number one, relentlessly communication with them. Now the communication is the key. Because I can't see them on a day-to-day basis, I need to establish communication lines where I at least see them once every week. At least I know their status once every few days. I explain them present realities, what is happening in the market, what our business is facing, why we are really going to do what we are going to do. I need to explain them why. Because unless my people are on board with me as a business, I will not be able to survive. Second, performance-based or outcome-based pay. Now this is crucial. Why? Because if my business is in trouble, If my financial health is not so good, I need to adjust, right? I need to make some adjustments to my cost structures also. So can we introduce some performance-based payment systems with our people? A big question, because possibly I will not be able to survive if I continue the old way. So can I get my people onboarded with me and make a win-win model? Because if the business survives, then only every one of us will be survived. The owners, the founders, as well as the employees. So can I not create a win-win formula for all of us? Flexible work policy. Work from home models have really helped us to really design new models now. The old models of 9 to 5, 9 to 6 possibly need to be changed. If my focus is on performance, my focus is on outcome, possibly I need to give some flexibility to my people, so that they are also working from their home in accordance to their own personal schedules. Critical one, which is the new trend which is happening globally, the gig model of working. Now this is a very interesting concept. A gig model mentions that a business can have a mixture of permanent employees, temporary employees, freelancers, and at the same time, machine employees. This is a new way of operating businesses across the globe. Possibly as a business, if I am not able to really work on fixed structure, permanent structure, can I find out freelancers for that work? Can I find out temporary people to work for that? Can I also install some machines to work relentlessly for me? Mixture of every one in terms of revenue model and employee model. And the last and the most important one, now the authoritative model will not hold anymore. Participation and influence is going to be the key. We will have to involve our employees, our people, for key decision making. We need to involve them in participation, them in taking right decisions. We need to give them why of what we are doing. We need to explain them the rationale that if our business survives, then only all of us are going to get survived. That's the key game changer. Participation of our people with us in every decision making. I hope the points that we have discussed till now are making some sense for you. Can I hear some feedback here? All of you would be on mute, I'm sure. Great, thank you. Before going to an individual level impact, let me ask our panelist here, Virenji, you have been observing the industry and the market. You are serving your clients in these tough times. What are your key observations? What impact really this corona or this pandemic or this crisis is having on businesses? Any key pointers you would like to add here?
Yeah, right, Meg. So, as everybody knows, because of this COVID pandemic, most of the businesses are suffering some kind of economic setback. A few have lost hands. Many are still trying to cope up with the lockdown situations, with the supply lines and logistics still broken up. So these are, as you said, a few insights which I got from some of my clients were actually specifically the IT companies.
Sure.
They are, you can say, like they are happy working from home or asking the employees working from home.
Okay.
What is happening is, see, they've understood that people don't need to be together to get some work done. Earlier, work from home used to be looked upon as a luxury, as a perk. Now it has become a necessity.
Sure.
So I guess few of us have heard, NASSCOM has just mentioned in one of the reports that it might take us a few months before we can achieve 50% occupancy levels in our office.
Sure.
Quite a few companies like TCS, Facebook, Twitter, they have already announced that they have specified the targets. Like TCS, they have a target of 25-25. So they will be trying to achieve 75% work from home efficiency by 2025.
Correct.
Facebook has mentioned that they're looking to have at least 50% of their employees working from home in the next few years. Even in the industry, if you just you can have a word with your colleagues, but quite a few IT companies are hiring people. Like as you said, you can use this as an opportunity to expand your business, and quite a few companies are doing that. And they are hiring people to work from home.
Okay.
Basically, now you don't have a geographical boundary. Whether I can hire a person in Mumbai, whether who is sitting in Raipur, for that matter, or maybe in some remote tier 2 or tier 3 city. As long as he has a good internet connection, as long as he has the skills, I can hire him.
Very true. So you see a possibility of possibly blessings in disguise also for businesses?
Very true, very true.
Great. And how your clients are managing this, Virenji? So you provide office spaces to lots of corporates.
Correct.
What are their reactions right now?
Actually, we have a mixed bag of clients. So, unfortunately, a few of our clients, they have lost a lot of business.
Right.
So, it's very hard for them to cope up with this financial stress, and they are looking at laying off employees, cutting down on the overhead costs.
Okay.
Yeah. As I said, like quite a few businesses are affected by this pandemic.
Okay.
But interestingly, the other few clients which we had cash in on the situation.
Okay.
So there are a few digital marketing companies.
Sure.
There are a few IT companies who work on the SaaS model, software as a service.
Correct.
So as you said, if you can provide a solution to a client wherein they can lower their overhead, they can just pay as their usage. So it becomes an advantage for the clients as well.
Correct.
So, I mean, yeah, it's a mixed bag of clients, and people are just trying to make as much of it as they can.
Okay. Very valid point. Very valid. Let me just very quickly hear from each one of us. Can everyone hear us at this moment? Just to check technology.
Sir.
No?
No, sir. Some technical problem.
Oh, okay. So, let me hear from few of you. Can you hear us, everyone?
We can hear. It's audible very clearly.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Very nice. Thank you so much. So, Virenji, what I hear from you is business have definitely get impacted. However, the businesses which are taking some early steps and quick steps to adapt this model itself as a new way of working, possibly they are getting benefits also immediately.
Correct. Like you can't expect immediate benefits
Sure.
out of an action for every business. But yeah, definitely it does lay down a good foundation for your future business.
Hmm.
As you said, if you can just have a collaboration with your clients
Hmm.
themselves,
Hmm.
try to understand what exactly are their pain points right now.
Hmm.
Leaving apart the obvious pain points like you can't get the employees to their office. Okay, everybody knows that. But apart
Yeah.
from that, there are some specific pain points with every client.
Hmm.
So if you can just try to understand those pain points and if you can find out a solution, that becomes a good starting point.
Sure.
One thing I would like to mention is like we all need to adapt a startup mentality over here.
Okay.
Startup mentality, I mean, like you need to be, you need to be think on your feet.
Hmm.
You can't have a fixed business model which maybe say you are running it quite successfully until now. The COVID situation is affecting your business, then it's a hard time that you look at your business model right now. And the
Very nice.
best feedback you can get is from your customers.
Very nice. Hmm. Very valid point, Virenji. You mentioned collaboration with our customer itself can be the first step.
Definitely.
Hmm.
See, you are already working, you have those customers with you. So you have a working relationship with them.
Right.
You have built up a rapport with them.
Hmm.
You can use that relationship and build on it.
True. Hmm.
In this current situation, finding a new client for anyone will be very challenging.
Hmm.
That's my observation.
Hmm. Hmm.
So it's always better that you build on your existing relationship.
Sure. Hmm. Good point. And Virenji, another critical point, in your own client cases, people who were having office spaces, maybe at your locations, possibly now they are moving to work from home policies, right, for their own employees.
Correct.
So, uh, in terms of their business continuity, have you observed many of them have survived well with the new model?
Survival in the sense of the business or like I didn't get you.
Business sense, yeah.
Okay. See, I guess work from home has to be adapted right now.
Hmm.
Avoid this. So, how do you achieve the maximum efficiency by allowing your employees to work from home? There are quite a few challenges the clients are facing, or rather they faced in the initial month and a half. But now quite a few have already streamlined the operations. They are getting back to not exactly the earlier efficiencies which they used to get by working from the offices, but yeah, it's a good mix of benefits which they are getting out.
Sure. So, possibly efficiency or productivity. This is one of the challenges in business owners' mind today.
Definitely.
Great. So we will definitely cover this point in the next section. Very nice. But the point for highlighting here is productivity and efficiencies of our people. That's the topmost concern of every business leader in this work from home model. Great. Yeah, thank you for sharing this, Virenji. Possibly at this juncture, we will move ahead with few impact areas on individual and what can we do. The most important question, because we believe in actions, we believe in strategies, actionable strategies. What can an individual do to ensure his or her financial health going forward? And before moving into those strategies, let me very quickly try out a poll here, an online poll with all of our participants. So I will show a poll in front of you, and you just need to select one of the options what matches to you the most, and then we will see the results. Okay, so ready to go? I'm just launching the poll here, a very simple question, but which will give us good insights, a collective insight from all of us. Okay, so the poll screen, the question will be in front of you. I request everyone to please register their response. Great. 10 more seconds for everyone to just consolidate. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay. So the results are in front of us. So the question was, to what extent your remuneration or salary is going to get impacted in this pandemic? And I'm hoping 40% of us are saying that the impact is going to be more than 20% and less than 50%. And the most alarming is 14% of us are saying that the impact is going to be more than 50%. And I'm glad to also see that 20% of us are saying that there may not be any impact. So the crucial here in front of us is the orange line, which is impact is definitely going to be there, and which is going to be more than 20%, which is a substantial number for any individual finances. So thanks for sharing this. I'm happy that all of us have participated. I hope you can see the results in front of you. Good, so good insights. Thanks for sharing. Let's go back to our topic. And see, as an individual, what can one do to really maintain the financial health? One, the important one. These are some basic steps, but I'm sure having an awareness of it will help all of us. First and foremost priority is be in the game. The first priority is survival. First survive, then think of growth. Jaan hai to jahan hai. A very good saying. And that applies to our own financial health also. Important priority is to first survive. What can we do? The most crucial strategy, no wonders, quite obvious, but worth remembering again and again. Practice essentialism. The first most thing what we can do, something which is in my control immediately, is expense optimization. What is essential and what is not? I need to use my discretion. What is must and what is not? My discretion. What is required now and what I can postpone tomorrow? My discretion. What is needed to sustain and what is not? My discretion. So if I apply this essentialism in my daily life, I'm sure we find out opportunities to save our expenses, to optimize our expenses to a great extent. Can I go back to my vendors, to my service providers, and request them that, okay, my finances are going to be in trouble, you need to help me. I need to renegotiate some terms with you, either for temporary period of this crucial time or for a longer period, but I need to have a dialogue with you. And it can be as small as a daily vendor at my home, to as big as rent. The list can be quite extensive if I find out. But this is the time to really optimize all my personal expenses. Very crucial. The first starting point. Second, again, the most obvious one. We would have realized the need of building an emergency corpus. We would not have imagined 6 months back that my finances are going to get impacted by 20%, 30%, 40%, 50% also in such a short span of time. That was unimaginable just few months back, but we are in this reality today. Possibly now we realize the need of having an emergency corpus in terms of our finances. But no problem. Better than nothing. Possibly, can I start from today? Building my emergency corpus with small contributions. The most essential strategy for the long run. Third important one, the most important one for people who are optimistic for future. People who want to find out opportunities in disguise also. This is the time to make intelligent investments for future. So crucial at all levels. If you want to really invest something for future, possibly I don't think any better time will come than now. But of course, with caution. By really doing good due diligence. By really studying deep. But this is the time to make smart, intelligent investments for future, either in equities, in real estates, in skills, in businesses, in partnerships. The investments can be in different forms, but this is the time to invest something for future. In new business models, in starting new businesses, in starting some new work on your own. For everything for future, possibly this is the right time to make that intelligent investment. And now the crucial one, the most important one, in light of the major layoffs, in light of the pay cuts, as an individual professional, what can I do? A big question in front of every one of us. There are 6 points in front of you. We don't have time enough to really go through in detail, but if I may just want to brush them through, this is the time to find out my own personal, unique selling point as an individual. What am I best at? What are my strengths? What are my real talents on which I can really capitalize, I can leverage on in my career? This is the time to really go deep again. Find out your own self again. Possibly we would not have done it in the normal times. The time now demands us to go deep within our own self to find out what really lies within me. This is the time to really be insights driven. Now the employer will value people who bring insights on table, people who bring business acumen on table, people who act entrepreneurial in organization. As an employee, I need to think like an entrepreneur now. Then only my employer is going to value me. If I'm just a cost center, I'm most vulnerable. If I just do routine tasks, I'm most vulnerable. If I can be immediately replaced by machines, I'm most vulnerable. If I can be replaced by other low-cost alternatives, I am most vulnerable. So how can I add value to my employer? A big question. Can I help my employer in decision making, in making changes, in adjusting with changes, giving new ideas in any form? Number 3, develop multidisciplinary skills. So this time has really thrown this challenge in front of us. Can I be useful in more than one industry? We have really experienced this well, right? Industries like hospitality, industry like travel and tourism, industries like luxury goods, industries like aviation, most vulnerable for present pandemic situation. So as an employee, can I start building those skills which can be used in multi-industries? Can I bring those roles which can be used in other industries also in future? This is the time to really look at my skills with a new lens. This is the time to develop multidisciplinary skills. And at the same time, going deep. Deep dive. Master your craft. Whatever I am doing, I need to master it further. I cannot be mediocre anymore. If I want to save my career, I need to master my craft. My employer will value me only and only if I am master in whatever I am doing. The next one, creativity and agility. I need to take charge of my career now. I can't rely on my employer for each and everything. I need to be creative. I need to be adjustable to the new situations, whatever happening in my organization, in my industry. I will have to adapt to these new changes. I will have to showcase to my employer that I am with you in these new realities. Most important challenge in individuals today is they are not able to showcase their employees that they are with them in these tough times. And the last and foremost is we have tasted during this time the real asset of a professional, of an individual is the relationships. Times like this, only thing which can really help me is my relationships. And therefore, this is the time to re-look at my own existing relationships and new relationships which I can build for future. So this is the time to really build and nurture my relationships. I have a network of people across industries. I have a network of people across domains, across designations. That will help me whenever I need. When I am in need, my network will help me find the solution. So this time needs a new approach for looking at my network, my relationships here. This topic is unending. The future of work is a deep topic, but we just wanted to give some insights to each one of us here to carry or to take away with me. We'll move ahead from here. I hope it is making sense. We have covered money topic in depth for an organization and for an individual. Because we know if we are financially secure, we are economically secure, then we can focus on our other well-being areas. This is the reality. And therefore, we wanted to give lots of importance to money in today's discussion. I hope it is making sense for every one of us. Can I see some responses? Either you can unmute yourself immediately or at least put in the chat boxes.
Yes, yes.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Now let me go ahead. From money, let's move to the most important again, and that is mind. Because the first thing what comes whenever we are in struggle, whenever we face challenges, is stress, anxiety, frustrations, confusions, and no better than Dr. Yash Velankar can really deal with this topic. So yes, sir, you would want to have, thank you. We would want to hear your thoughts. And to start this question, yes, sir, I would again want to take a poll, immediate poll from our audience today. To what extent, stress or mindset management is one of the important questions in our lives. Can everyone see the question in front of their screens? The question is very simple. On account of the present situation, to what extent you are experiencing increased stress level? Okay. We'll wait for next 10 seconds for everyone to participate in the poll. Okay, 5 more seconds. Great. So I'm going to end the poll and let's see the results together. So the results are in front of us. Almost 45%, 47% of us feeling significantly more or alarming level of stress in this present situation. I'm also happy to see that 11% of us are saying that stress is no more a concern for us. But balance 90% feeling stress levels to a certain extent, and 50% of us are facing significant level of stress. This is an alarming situation. And we are going to hear from Yes Sir, which are those few strategies as an individual we can use to manage our stress. But before going to that strategies, Yes Sir, I would like to know, how do you define stress? First of all, basic question.
Right.
What are the symptoms, sir? What are the symptoms when we can say that someone is under stress?
Before going to symptoms, we will define what is psychological stress.
Okay.
So psychological stress is a feeling that environmental needs are beyond your capabilities. When you feel that environmental needs are beyond your capabilities, you have psychological stress. So in this instance, in this pandemic, everyone will have a more psychological stress because uncertainty is increased. We could not plan our future. when everything will be all right, we can't predict. And that is the one most important point of psychological stress. Everyone will be under psychological stress because of this uncertainty.
Okay.
So those who have voted that 10% people that they don't have stress, they have no awareness of their psychological well-being.
Okay.
Because subconsciously we have that question, when this uncertainty will end and when everything will be okay, as it was in December 2019. We can't predict it. And that's why you are mentioning that keep cash flow, because we have to survive till that everything, when everything is okay, till that we have to survive.
Sure.
And that is the first point of psychological stress. Now, many people don't recognize that they have psychological stress because it is a silent killer. Psychological stress can raise your blood pressure, but you can't realize that you have hypertension.
Right.
These symptoms are acute symptoms when someone has palpitation, that means heaviness in chest, some symptoms about insomnia, but those are rare symptoms.
Okay.
Basically, psychological stress is unconscious. We can't realize it. And to realize it, we have to improve our attention skill.
Okay. Okay.
So there is a simple technique for that attention skill, that you can ask yourself, what is your emotional status in this moment?
Okay.
In this moment, what is emotional state? So we can have an emotional scale, like we can have scales, different scales. We can have an emotional scale where 0 is a equanimity, balanced state.
Okay.
Towards 1 to 5 plus 1 to plus 5, there is a pleasurable state, happy state.
Okay.
So when anyone is in the flow, enjoying that moment, and he is not aware of any other thoughts, he is in flow state. So if he is in flow state, he can mention his state 5 after that state, because in that state he is not aware of anything else.
True.
Similarly, on negative side, we have -1 to -5 scale. When there is a -5 scale, then only you have anxiety or depression, like Sushant Rajput.
Sure, sir.
He was at -5 scale when he done that act. But everyone has some level of -1, -2 or -3 scale. That is normal, obvious, but we should be aware of our emotional state.
Okay. So that awareness is the first step. Yes, sir.
Hello?
The awareness or attention.
Awareness about own emotional state, own mind.
Is the first step, in your
Is
opinion.
the first step. This is most important step. We consider everything external. What is the situation of money, client, corporates.
Correct.
But what is situation of our own mind? What is our inner world?
Right.
We don't give importance to it. Similarly, as you give me first opportunity after 1 hour to speak, because that is not priority.
Sure.
And that is the problem.
Sure. Understand. So, awareness, being mindful of my present state of emotions is the first step while defining whether I am in stress or not.
Yes.
Okay. So, sir, very quickly, how can one really increase this level of awareness? Are there any tips or techniques to increase the
Yes.
level of awareness, sir?
So he has to shift his attention in present moment.
Okay.
If in every hour he is thinking about future for 58 minutes, it's okay, that is no problem. But he should shift his attention minimum for 2 minutes to present moment.
Okay.
And what is happening in this present moment in his body as well as in his mind.
Okay.
To be aware of that is the second step for stress management.
Sure. So I see a good technique here. What you mentioned is every 1 hour, if I can give 1 minute just to observe what is happening, that itself is the first step.
Yes, so that is not easy. You have to practice it regularly, and that is attention training. That is mindfulness.
Sure.
Shifting your attention to present moment again and again.
Okay.
We have thoughts of future and past. That is obvious and natural. But we have to notice that in this moment, I have this thought of anxiety. I have thought of cash flow.
True.
So you have to be diffused from your thought in that moment. That is a specific skill, and you have to practice it regularly. It is not so easy to practice it.
Sure, sir. Understand. That needs a regular practice.
Yes.
Of attention training. So, sir, are there any ideas to practice this? Next leading point here. How can one practice attention training, sir?
So first simple tool is to practice to shift your attention to your sense organs.
Okay.
So every individual has two states. One is remembering self and second is experiencing self.
Okay.
When you are thinking, you are in remembering self.
Sure.
When you are planning, you are in remembering self. Your default mode network in brain is active. But we can shift our attention and experience what is happening in this moment, in the environment also.
Okay.
Which sounds can you recognize? So shift your attention to this present moment on different sounds.
Okay.
What touch can you notice on your body? Touch of wind, touch of floor, touch of chair. So first tool is shift your attention to sense organs.
Okay.
When we are aware of information given by sense organs, we are in experiencing self.
Sure.
So to practice, to reduce our stress, we should practice this experience self 1 minute in 1 hour minimum.
Okay. So this 1 minute practice every hour will build our muscles of attention. Right, sir?
Yes, sir.
Very nice, sir. Very useful tip. Very useful tip. And sir, I would like to share one presentation based on our past discussions to all my participant friends here. I have had deep discussions with Yash, sir, and continuous discussions on a periodic basis. And he has shared a few ideas with us in the past, which we just wanted to convey to you in the presentation. So, yes, sir, I will just share a presentation and then we'll again discuss further on this point. So, I'll have a presentation. So, mind, we are discussing about stress management, right? This is one of my favorite quotes, which I always remember every day. Mind is a wonderful servant, but a terrible master. What do we mean by this? If we manage our mind well, it can really act wonders for us. It is a wonderful servant to us. But if we allow our minds to act like a master to us, if it goes beyond our control, If it is uncontrolled mind, it is a terrible master. And therefore the need of mindfulness to control, to monitor, to observe our minds on a day-to-day basis. Which are those few strategies here? What we were discussing also with Yash sir. Take one day at a time. This present situation is a very crucial one. If we start thinking of 5 years down the line, 10 years down the line, what will happen to me 5 years afterwards? If we start thinking that, I'm going to get overwhelmed. I'm going to get stressed, more and more stressed. So the idea is, take it easy. This shall too pass. Taking one day at a time is the need of the hour. Second, being the present. The connecting point here. Am I managing myself well today? That's the first question in front of my mind. What will happen tomorrow? I will look at it tomorrow. Am I managing my present today? Is the first question. I don't want to burden my mind for future at this moment. Then what Yash sir was mentioning, the mindfulness. It's a deep topic and Yash sir is one of the experts in this domain. But the idea that he shared was very useful. I am just observing whatever happening in my mind for some moments during the day. That itself is mindfulness. If I'm eating and I'm giving attention to my eating, which means I'm acting mindful. If I'm talking to someone and I'm attentive to my discussions, I'm mindful. If I'm watching TV and I'm 100% attending to the TV, it means I'm mindful. So the idea here is, whatever I am doing it with 100% involvement or attention. So that my mind is not distracted for that moment. And the practice what Yash sir has shared with us, good breath. Sir, I am mentioning this term because this is one of my favorite terms, sir.
Yes, go ahead.
Good breath. Good breath is just observing few breaths every 1 hour. That actually I am alive. We take our breaths every now and then, but we don't observe whether we are taking breath or not. It happens naturally. Good breath is nothing but observing to my breath that my breath is coming in and my breath is going out. That observation itself is building my muscle of attention, which Yash sir has mentioned that we need to build our muscle of attention every day. And good breath is a very good technique for that. Once I start observing my breaths, slowly and steadily, I build the practice of attending to other situations. So just 1 minute every hour, giving attention to my breathing, breath coming in and breath going out, without thinking much about it. That's good breath. Few more techniques are here. Gratitude. I have observed myself during this pandemic situation. While there are so many challenges in front of us, we are still fortunate. We are still living in our homes. We are not on roads. We are still having food in plates. We are still able to survive. We still have relationships alive. There are so many things to be gratitude for, right? And when I think about these positives in my life, automatically my level of stress goes down. So practicing this gratitude every single day is so crucial during these pandemic situations. And I'm sure every one of us would experience this in their own ways. And this is the one, sir, I feel worth mentioning here is asking for help. You know, I observe lots of my clients at a very senior level. One of the most kind of hesitation that they feel or experience is asking for help from others. And I see this increases stress. You know, when someone is open, when someone is humble, there is no hesitation for asking for help. When I ask for help, I share my pain, I share my struggle, I share my challenges with others. That itself one of the most impactful stress relievers in my opinion, asking for help. Talking to people around me, talking to my relatives, talking to my friends, talking to my seniors, my juniors, my peers, my neighbors, my vendors, my customers. That I am in challenge, I am facing challenge, can you help? Simple. That reduces my stress level drastically. One single step. So these were a few ideas to manage our level of stress in day-to-day basis. We want to know more from you, yes sir, on this topic. You will be dealing with lots of leaders also, right? Business leaders. Yes sir, what are their immediate pain points as far as stress levels of their people or their employees?
Sorry?
How are they reacting with this? The business owners or the leaders, what are the different levels of stress indicators or stress symptoms leaders are facing themselves and they are observing in their employees?
Many leaders can't face this situation and they are in depressed mood.
Okay.
But they are not ready to share their experience. And that is the worst situation.
Okay. So acknowledging that I am in stress itself is a big factor. I mean, depression is a big factor.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. And sir, what are their experiences with their people? Their employees?
So middle class management have the question about their financial future.
Okay.
As we have mentioned that there are many cutoffs and salary decrease. That
Right.
is the problem for middle class managers. But they don't have too much depression like their leaders.
Sure.
Because they know that they have talents and they can change their company, go to another company. But the leaders can't change their company. They are owners of their companies. And so they have more stress than middle class managers.
Okay. So leaders are most vulnerable to stress, sir.
Yes.
Number one. Then the middle management, and then possibly the next class. The level of stress are different.
Yes. So we can take an example like a ST driver, bus driver. If that bus got breakdown, he will go down and try to catch another vehicle.
Correct.
But if your own vehicle is got breakdown, you can't do it.
True.
You have to take care, you have to concern of that vehicle, and that is the position of leaders.
Sure.
They have concern about their companies and how to survive of that company.
Understand, sir. So bigger burden, more stress.
Yes.
Very nice, sir. And the practices that you have mentioned, sir, any other ideas you would like to share, sir, at this juncture? Any other simple tips in addition to what we have covered in the presentation?
What I have mentioned is you should be aware of your mind state.
Okay.
These leaders are always in thinking mode. They don't observe their mind. So I have some cases who have tried suicide attempts.
Okay.
Because they don't have awareness of their mind state.
Sure.
And when we don't have awareness of our mind state, our emotions can be have very impulsive act on it.
Sure.
And that's why we have to be aware of our emotions. So anxiety, depression is a normal thing. We should aware of our anxiety, that I am anxious in this moment.
Sure.
If you are not aware of that anxiety, the anxiety remains in you and it can burst out. And that anxiety can create an impulsive behavior like suicide attempt.
Understand.
So you should be aware of your emotions. I have anxiety 4 times in a day. It's okay. When you have anxiety, you can shift your attention to body, because whenever you have any anxiety, ill health of your mind, you have some changes in your body.
Right.
If you shift your attention to your body and observe those body sensations and accept those sensations, you can reduce anxiety.
Right.
So to improve emotional intelligence is very much necessary in this pandemic area.
Understand, sir.
We should be reduce intensity, period, and frequency of destructive emotions. Anxiety, frustration, rage are all destructive emotions. And we should be aware of those emotions. Otherwise, what we have mentioned, that they will catch us and we will do impulsive behavior. Our emotional brain will hijack our rational brain.
Very true.
So when you are thinking, your rational brain is active, but at the same time, your emotional brain is also always active. But you are not giving attention to your emotions, what is doing your emotional brain. And that is more dangerous situation. So what I have mentioned, that you should think, you should plan future, but you should be aware of your emotions once in an hour for 1 minute only.
Sure. So there is an actionable technique, sir.
Yes. So you should ask yourself question, what are my emotions? How I am feeling in this moment? Is my scale at -1, -2? Okay, that is not bad. It is natural and obvious. We should not feel bad about feeling bad. Feeling bad is a natural thing. We have serotonin hormone in our brain, and that serotonin get changed because of environmental changes. So at evening, serotonin is low naturally, and at that time we will feel bad. Today, people feel guilty about feeling bad.
Sure.
And that is not good.
Sure.
So if my feeling situation in this moment is -2, okay, I should accept it. Okay, I am feeling bad in this moment. Let us see when this emotion will get changed. And that is mindfulness.
Understood. Sure, sir. Very, very useful insights. So the fact that I am observing my emotional state itself is the solution.
Yes. When you are observing your emotional state, you are coming out of that flow of those thoughts.
I'm breaking the chain.
You are breaking the chain and you are observing your reaction of your emotional brain.
Sure. I like this particular sentence, sir. Feeling bad itself is not bad.
Yes.
Being aware of feeling bad itself is a solution.
Yes.
Yeah, in fact, I was the same thing. It's a very insightful technique which you have just mentioned. I was never aware that just being aware of our emotions can help us bridge over that particular phase.
Absolutely.
Yes, because you come out of that flow. Otherwise, emotions catch up you and you never know what are you doing in that moment. And that's why those impulsive behavior of any like suicide attempt or any angry thoughts and angry behavior is because of that impulsive behavior. So we should be angry by choice, not as a blind reaction.
Understood. Not by default, by choice.
Yes.
Absolutely critical, sir. Absolutely. So one actionable takeaway, definitely, sir, to pass on is being mindful, being attentive, and being aware is the most impactful solution for depression or for stress. Very nice. Thanks for sharing, sir. I will ask, of course, all my participants also to share their questions in the comment box, if any, and then we will definitely cover them. I'm mindful of the time, no doubt. Almost we are reaching to 5:30, but the topic itself is so deep. I think the audience or participants here will not mind to continue for next 10 minutes. So with that hope, I will continue, sir, and we'll come back to questions again towards the end. The last segment, matter. What does it mean? Productivity, efficiency, and therefore this important saying, focus on being productive instead of being busy. And that summarizes this very well. How can we ensure productivity while working from home? I would like to have one quick dialogue with Virenji here. Very quick. Virenji, what are some feedbacks? You mentioned in the start also that your clients are really mentioning that productivity is one of the important issues for them, right?
Right.
So, are there any ways you mentioned that productivity can be really managed well? Are there any actionables from your side, one or two key actionables?
Yeah, definitely. Actually, there are quite a few things which we need to follow. But I'll not cover all those. I'll just mention a few important ones.
Sure.
One you've already mentioned is communicate. So I would say communicate. It works both the ways, even for the team leaders and also for the team members who are working under the team leader. See, what is happening is when you're working in the office, you used to work besides each other. There was a lot of communication happening apart from the verbal communication itself. Now with the work from home concept, you can't see the person in front of you unless you are on a video conferencing with him.
True.
So words alone can't express all the emotions or all the thoughts which you have. That's what I feel. So it's very important that you do some extra communication. You set up the right expectations from your colleagues, from your subordinates, and definitely with your team leader, your boss, team executive. What happens is, like Yeah, am I audible?
Virenji, please.
Yeah. So, like, people need to communicate. The employees need to communicate their expectations with the team leaders. The team leaders need to communicate their expectations from the employees, and definitely they need to have a sense of ownership. Each employee should have a sense of ownership with the company. Because as you rightly said, with the situation being so bad, there are a number of happening. So, like apart from upskilling yourself, you need to definitely you need to upgrade your skills. But apart from that, you need to show that you belong to the company. You need to think for the company. So that kind of communication or those kind of relations, you need to build those relationships right now. That is one of the most important aspects.
Okay. So you see, productivity, the answer to productivity loss is communication. First most, communicate on a frequent basis, number one.
Correct.
And number two, from the employee side, you're thinking like a business owner.
Right.
Now, how my actions are going to get impacted for this business.
Definitely.
Okay. Very valid point, sir. Any estimate what would be the possible productivity loss in percentage terms, Virenji, in your observation?
Like I can't comment for the industry as a whole, but yeah, definitely I can share the client feedbacks which we have gotten.
Sure.
So really, from say there's a 50% loss.
Okay.
Some of the people are still coping with that 50% loss in efficiency.
Okay.
They have tried to overcome the gaps and they are making it an 80% efficiency.
Okay.
Earlier.
Okay.
Yeah, so definitely there is a loss in efficiency, but there are some pros.
Virenji, you are on mute. Sorry. I think you got on mute.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So yeah, as I was saying, like definitely there's a loss in efficiency, but there are some pros as well for working from home. So if balance goes out, it can be a win-win situation for both the employers as well as the employees.
Right. So while this reduced efficiency is a problem, there are lots of opportunity also, which can be counted on.
Definitely.
Okay.
Like many of you might have already experienced, there's a huge savings in the commuting time. You're saving on the time.
Sure.
Traveling to the office daily. Usually spend say 1 hour, 1.5 hours, 2 even some of them. You can use that time to spend with your family.
Sure.
But obviously to achieve that, you need to have the right kind of expectations set with your company.
Understand. Good point, sir. So, how can one convert this inefficiency to heightened productivity is the question we need to address. Isn't it, Virenji?
Right.
Great. Thank you so much for sharing this industry insight also. You mentioned that approximately 40 to 50%, this is also a productivity loss ratio. And to that extent, productivity can be kind of compromised during working from home.
Correct.
We have few tips here for our participants, Virenji.
Okay.
In order to enhance their productivity while working from home, first and foremost, time blocks, which we call it as compartmentalize. Very simple. Like in our school days, college days, every lecture has a particular time block. 35 minutes, 45 minutes. Each subject will have a particular time slot, and therefore it goes on very seamlessly. We can use the same technique in our day-to-day life, in our every day, single day. If we can allocate particular time blocks to every important work, before the start of the day itself, my day is focused.
Right.
Because I am giving particular time slot to every work which I want to do, I need to do in that day. Time block technique, compartmentalization technique, very effective in increasing productivity on day-to-day basis. When I plan for the day, if I compartmentalize, I don't get overwhelmed that I need to do so many things because my plan is ready with time blocks given to every work. And I am focused throughout the day because of the time block technique. I know that I'm going to anyway finish every work if I respect my time blocks. I just need to ensure that I respect my time blocks for every work. I don't get distracted in between. Second technique, very effective, use of full flow time. Now, what is full flow? When naturally I am energetic. Naturally I am in my full flow, full form. And every individual one of us has a particular full flow time during the day. Someone will have in the morning, someone will have in the evening, someone will have late night. There are different time slots for everyone. When they are naturally at their best, naturally energetic, naturally they are fresh in their minds, right? So first of all, knowing that when I am my best, and then using that time while planning your work. So how I do personally, I know my full flow times. There are 2 time slots during the day when I am naturally energetic. What I do, I tackle most of the complicated things during that time slot. Either it may be researching something, strategizing something, dealing with a difficult situation, having some kind of conflicting dialogues, etc., etc. I schedule those work during my full flow time because I know I'm going to give my best during that time. So I want to use that time very effectively for most complicated work, most difficult work. And balance time I will use anyway for my admin work, routine work. Third technique, very important, multitasking versus monotasking. There was a kind of a fashion saying that I am a multitasker. I say multitasking is not effective. Monotasking is more effective. What do I mean? Planning for the day, handling multiple tasks in a day, but at the same time, focusing on one task at a time, which is monotasking. So therefore, I cannot handle 10 things at a time. I can handle only one thing at a time. My brain is designed in such a fashion that it can handle only one thing effectively at a time. And multitasking is a myth. Therefore, planning the day as a multitasker, but executing as a monotasker is the key of productivity in my opinion.
Correct. I agree with you, Nick, on this point particularly.
Thank you. Last one. Time management starts with energy management, in fact. So when I say, I don't have time, in fact, I am saying I don't have energy. Because if I have energy, I will do same thing in lesser time. If I am full of physical energy, I am full of mental energy, I am going to save lots of time in doing the same task. Isn't it? So, therefore I say don't focus on time management, focus on your energy management. How can you build your energies for the day? By exercising, energy booster. By eating right food, energy booster. By not getting distracted, energy booster. By doing one thing at a time, energy saver. If I focus on my energies, naturally I am going to manage my time well. And therefore, we just need to change our perspective. I don't have time, it means I don't have energy. Simple. Therefore, if I want to manage my time well, I need to manage my energies well.
Agreed. I would like to share one point with you, Meg.
Please.
I had a feedback from a couple of my friends who are working from home, and they are complaining that they have gained a couple of kilos in the weight. So yeah, food is also important in this because like what they are saying, since you're working from home, like there's no fixed schedule for eating,
Sure.
and you just keep on munching things. So
Hmm.
that is adding on to the weight and probably the
Hmm. Hmm. Very nice. So that weight management is also energy spending, right?
right, right.
Very nice point. And the last one, the most important one also, which normally we tend to neglect, is having a good setup at home. I didn't realize it in first 15 days of my working from home culture, which I started realizing later that, okay, when I'm sitting at a consistent space in my home, I'm giving rest to my mind that, okay, this is your space of working. Giving some signals to my family members that please don't distract me, don't disturb me during this space. This space I'm dedicating for my working from home. Second, light. A good light, a good airflow, super critical. In order to be really feeling fresh while working from home, it is going to impact my energy. It is going to impact my productivity. And the last one, crucial one, is a good sitting arrangement. This also based on my own experience. A bad sitting arrangement can damage our entire body in the long run. And it is not only for present or temporary productivity, it is for the long-term well-being. And therefore, having a good sitting arrangement at home, to go to the basics, a good table, a good chair, where I can sit comfortably, I can sit straight comfortably for a longer time of duration of my time, because I'm going to anyway work for 8 to 10 hours from home, from the same space, from the same table. This becomes super crucial, which we have never thought about in the past. All these get counted for increasing my productivity while working from home. Virenji, do you think these points make sense? Any other thoughts you want to share here?
Yeah, there's a few points which I would like to add on to this. We usually encourage our employees, and even like we have suggested a few of our clients who had some problems managing the work from home culture effectively. So one thing which we suggested was ask your employees to follow a routine before this. Whenever you go to the office, you don't go to the office in your pajamas or your shorts.
Sure.
Get into a new fresh set of clothes. So like it's a small thing, but try to follow that routine so that you get in the right mindset.
Sure.
The next important thing is demarcate a specific space out of which you want to work out of your home. Understand this, like when you're working from home, you are invading the family space.
Correct.
Like family has the first right over the home, right?
Sure.
So you need to communicate with them too. And you'll be working out of a certain area. So make them understand that you need some privacy while working. Specifically when you're on calls. You can use a small marker, do not disturb sign or some indication which makes the family understand that you are having something important going on. So you're supposed to be quiet for that particular period of time.
Sure.
That again is an effective technique. Third is the right infra, as you mentioned. Like a right kind of table and chair goes a long way in helping you achieve that efficiency working from home. Because you can't sit for longer durations on working from a couch or a dining table, or maybe it's like it could be fine if you're working for a day or two, but you can't do it continuously.
Correct.
That is again important. And, one more thing important is like you need to be in touch with your friends, your family as well to maintain that efficiency. See, what happens is if you're working from home, there's a limited set of people you're going to be in touch with. Your family, your colleagues on the video conferencing. You need a break.
Sure.
You need to understand we are all social. We need that social touch somewhere. So I guess communication plays an important role, quite an important role while working from home.
Sure, good points, Virenji. All of these points definitely will add to an enhanced level of productivity at an individual level. And I think, few of us who are business leaders, attending this call, I think they need to pass on these points to their employees on priority. Because employee productivity is going to be the game changer. There is a direct linkage between employee productivity and company's profitability. So we can't take this point lightly. So some of us having a team of employees working from home, please do take note of these points and do share with your people. It will help them to enhance their own productivity levels, and it will in turn help us as business owners. Great. Thank you, Virenji, for sharing these thoughts on productivity here.
Sure.
And I'm sure, the solutions or offerings that your company provides for working from home solutions, the right setup, the table, the chair, the footrest, the neck rest, this all, it sounds small, but they impact a lot in our level of productivity. So thanks for bringing that solution out in the market right now when there is an important need. Coming to the conclusion here, we have covered money, the financial health of businesses and financial health of individuals. We have covered mindset, how to manage our stress, how to really effectively address stress. And we have also covered very quickly, but convincingly, how to enhance our productivity while working from home. This was our objective for the webinar, to give a complete overview of working from home, 360-degree evaluation. And I hope we have reached to our objective to a great extent. To conclude our discussion, one thing to remember here is this too shall pass. The struggle, the uncertainties, the immediate setbacks, this is not permanent. We will come out of it. This time too shall pass. We just need to be in the game. In fact, we'll have to be ahead of the game in order to stay in it. We'll have to take those immediate actions in order to be ahead in the game here. As an organizational leader, what can I do to align with these new trends, new consumer preferences, new employee realities, new market requirements? What can I do? If I focus on actions, I will move faster. And third and most important one is, we need not do it all together. We need to pick one or two areas right now while we are in the webinar. One or two important points, the key takeaways for you, and decide to act on it right now. Because a journey of 1,000 miles must begin with a single step. Unless I take that first step, I can't dream of reaching to my destination. So that first step is super crucial. So what is your first step? We would want you to think for a moment and take a note right away. Then only this webinar will be worthwhile. So with that, I would want to thanks again to each one of you for being here with us. It was a pleasure to have all of you for your time, for your attention. I would also like to thank again to Yash Velankar sir for managing his time while he was traveling and sharing his crucial impact areas, crucial insights also. Virenj, I would like to again thank you for coming together for organizing this webinar and sharing your useful thoughts from an entrepreneurial side.
Always welcome me. In fact, thank you for such a wonderful opportunity.
Thank you, sir. It's our pleasure, and I hope it added some value, some actionable value, actionable insights for each one of us. So can I hear some participants here for their questions or for their comments? Okay, I can see on the chat box. If you want, you can unmute yourself. Sanika?
Yes, Meghna.
Are there any questions which we have missed out?
Yes, there are a few questions.
Okay, maybe we'll very quickly take them through.
Aman sir has asked, what and how communication to the employees to be done and frequency and by whom?
Very nice point. Maybe I'll share my thoughts and then Virenj, I'll ask your opinion here. I think communication, there is no frequency. In fact, this is the time to have real life communication, real time communication. But if at all it is not possible, at least the immediate supervisor in the company should communicate with his or her team on a daily basis. And the leader, the most senior in the team, should communicate with the team at least once in a week. Because our people needs empathy, our people needs clarity, our people needs certainty, and that can only come from the leader. So at least once a week call with the entire team, I think will be the most important one. Virenji?
Definitely, I agree with you, Meg. Immediate leaders can have the direct communication with the employees, but the CEO or the owner of the company needs to communicate the path the company is taking so that everyone has some kind of clarity.
Sure.
In this crisis situation. Yeah.
Good point.
So there's no frequency. Like how many times you need to communicate it, just that you put the message across. Whatever time is required.
Communicate. Virenji. That's what your mantra was. Great. Sanika, any other questions?
Yes. There's one more question, which is how to address negative communication in an organization.
Very good. Nice point, realistic point. I think the clarity of why makes a lot of difference. So when we communicate why before what, people do understand the rationale. If they are connected with our why, the purpose, the rationale, the logic, their level of acceptance goes up, their level of receptivity goes up because they think like entrepreneurs then. Because we have shared the required clarity. So once we share that clarity, the receptivity goes up and we involve them in decision making. Number one. Number two, even if people don't understand the rationale, at least listening them out first, I think becomes super crucial here. Unless I listen them out with an empathetic mindset, I will not understand their problems. And unless I understand their problem, I cannot empathize with them. I cannot console them. Therefore, a good listening, or open-minded listening itself is a first step, in my opinion, with people, with employees. Whether we are able to solve their problem or not is the second step. But first, giving a good listening ear, understanding their problems with an open mind, with a neutral mindset, becomes super crucial in communication. Virenji, any other thoughts here?
No, I think you have already covered the point. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much. Any other points, Anika?
No, Meghna, that's all. That's all the questions.
Okay,
That's all.
great.
I
So,
would, in fact, like to take this opportunity to thank you and Virenji and Yashji for actually giving us such fresh insights and a whole different perspective to the work from home culture. I would also like to thank all the participants for investing their time and being so patient throughout this webinar. I hope we have answered all your questions. If we haven't, and if you have any more questions, I would request you all to please contact us through the contact details that are mentioned, as you can see on the screen. And I would also like you all to follow us on our social media accounts on Instagram, on Facebook, and subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you are in touch with our Shunya's team to give you fresher and newer insights. Thank you, everyone.
Right. Thanks, everyone.
thank you. Thank you so much, everyone. And hope to see you soon again.